Going to start this half hour at the State House.
Yeah, Republican lawmakers are pushing a new bill that aimed at changing what is taught in South Carolina schools, or should we say what can and can't be taught in South Carolina schools.
Today, parents and educators testified in front of a educational panel at the State House. News 19's Becky Buds is at the State House now with the very latest on what they had to say.
Debate over what teachers can and cannot say in South Carolina has been revived. On Tuesday, a House education panel took up the South Carolina Transparency and Integrity in Education Act. This proposal would ban teaching that an individual is inherently privileged, racist, sexist, or oppressive.
The bill does not discuss student feelings or use subjective language.
All of our students the history that they deserve.
However, the bill wouldn't prohibit the fact-based discussion of controversial aspects of history, nor would it prevent teachers from discussing the historical oppression of a particular group of people.
And so then the question becomes, who gets to decide what's bias and what's fact-based?
Many teachers groups, parents, and civil rights groups like the ACLU say the bills are anti-truth and worry they will drive more educators out the door.
My son has not had an English teacher in the classroom almost the entire semester. So I'm more concerned about the good teachers that are going to find this another incentive to leave the profession.
Among the supporters of the bills are those who say they want opinions in politics to stay out of their children's classroom.
We just want truth and facts and real honest education.
It would also make instructional material available for parents to review online, which many schools already do. The law would go into effect during the 2024-2025 school year. Reporting at the State House, Becky Buds, News 19 WLTX.
Schools or other educational agencies found violating the proposed law or refusing to adhere to a correction plan could see up to 5% of their appropriated funds withheld by the State Department of Education.
So if you're wondering tonight, what exactly is the critical race theory? Well, it's a way of teaching America's history that centers on the idea that racism is systematic in our nation's institutions and that they function to maintain the dominance of white people in society. For example, the idea highlights that what the U.S. was founded through stealing lands from natives and racism and slavery and unequal treatment of people based on race. Proponents of the critical race theory argue that it tells a more complete story of America's past, but many Republicans think it's a way to rewrite American history, and it would make people, particularly white people, uncomfortable because of their advantages.
And in response to this bill, Democratic Representative Jermaine Johnson says he will file a bill banning schools from teaching about slave owners. In a statement, he says many people find this topic uncomfortable and upsetting, especially the grandparents of children who lived through the civil rights movement and had relatives who were slaves themselves. He goes on to say we should protect our children from being exposed to this evil by sweeping it under the rug and never addressing it again.